long-term problem with Syria is that the system is designed to have everyone in the world be poor and a very small class of people be rich. And what we've been doing in the United States and Europe is we've been sort of burning our legacy, that we had so much wealth stored up from the generations after the Second World War that we had sort of money to burn. And we've been burning this money, and that's what's allowed the middle class lifestyle, as much as it's been able to be maintained. But I'm skeptical that going forward, that there's not going to be a lot of people falling again. And
America does seem to me like one of the most unfair societies. You know, like, okay, you get things on Amazon probably 40% cheaper than you do in Austria, but just the lack of basic free healthcare there, like, because you've got all these middlemen taking massive amounts of money off the plate. Whereas if America had a system like the NHS in the UK, then it would be great, I think. You know, basically free healthcare for everybody.
The healthcare system, as you've touched on, a real big problem that I think they have a real hard time with. You know, I mean, the system doesn't balance. It creates a lot of bills that aren't paid. It creates a lot of imbalances. It creates. I mean, do you know what a lawyer charges now? When I started out on Wall Street, 20-something years ago, a lawyer made $400 an hour, and now a lawyer makes $1,800 a partner. Now they make $1,800 an hour.
That must be a partner, right? A big
that's
partner.
What a partner is. Yeah. $1,800.
It's the same in UK.
And it's a form of, it's a mafia. It's a mafia. It's a form of taking money out of society, of skimming money for corruption. It's just like the mafia in Russia and Ukraine, except it's not as classy. And the muscles don't matter anymore. It's just how clever you are and how manipulative you are. And a system that worships manipulation and cleverness, not brute force, right? Because that's what Putin and Russia really is. It's like, in Russia, if you're a gangster, there's muscles somewhere. Somebody's got a gun. There's a big guy that's going to be able to kick your ass. There's physical violence and threat. You don't have that in the United States and Europe. When rich people get together to run society, I'm not saying there's never a bodyguard, but not a lot. Not really. No. I saw billionaires all the time. I used to see John Paulson all the time. Walks across Central Park by himself. Doesn't have a bodyguard. I mean, maybe he started recently. I haven't seen him in a couple of years, but he used to. And I just think in general, our society is based around, violence isn't an option. That you want to screw people by being clever. That you can't screw them by stiff arming them or muscling. You go to jail for that. But if you can use leverage and, fuck with them in a way that you're not physically violating them, then you have a much better chance of getting away with it. And that's what our society is based on. And someone like Putin and Trump, well, Trump loves it. I mean, Trump has really been a master of the game. For political purposes, he would pretend that he was a throwback American, hardworking and Christian and all these things that he was. I mean, Trump and Putin are not good Christians. There's no way. There's no way. Anyone who looks at the life of Christ and what his teachings were, whether you're a Catholic or Protestant or Russian Orthodox, Green Orthodox, to run around and Trump did something different. Trump is just an asshole, but not a murderous asshole. Someone like Putin, you're just sitting there saying, oh, big deal. We'll just kill 10,000 people or 20,000 people. We'll make 4 million people homeless.
I'm going to be losing subscribers with what you're saying about Trump, but I'll be gaining some subscribers on the left, probably, Democrats,
I mean, it's just a corrupt world. I mean, and the loser is the average person. The loser is that middle class person that's being pushed further and further down, where they don't have wealth, where they live paycheck to paycheck, where they don't really have job security. I mean, I think that is the real problem. I mean, someone like Noam Chomsky, right? Noam Chomsky, my girlfriend Liz, she dated a long time ago a famous guy named Juan Gonzalez, who's an older guy, and he's a program called Democracy Now! It's one of the oldest running public television
It's
shows.
still going?
We talk these types of time.
Is it still going, that show? Democracy Now.
Democracy Now. And his name is Juan Gonzalez. And they're very good, like Noam Chomsky goes in that show. So what I'm saying, like, I don't want you to think like I think what I'm saying is very original and like, you know, very, I mean, I'm really sort of towing their line a little bit when it comes to the economic stuff. You know, it's sort of Marxist. I mean, it's not Soviet and it's not Marxist as in pure communist, but certainly it's about the exploitation of the working class by the capitalist classes. I mean, that anyone who thinks that's not true is an idiot. Now you can say, I benefit from that. You can say, hey, you know, I benefit from that system, so I can't complain that much because it helps me. I mean, that's a selfish reason to do something. It's not a good reason. It's just selfish. It doesn't mean the system's good. It just means it's good for me. It may hurt most people, but it might benefit me. I think that you can't look at the world that way. That I don't really need that much. Like a lot of resources, I'm not that interested in. You know, I don't need a private jet. I don't need, you know, I'd love to have a 20-foot boat. I don't need a 180-foot boat, you know, a 500-foot boat, you know. But someone like Putin, when he puts this war on, he takes this whole idea of class struggle, which to me is becoming dire. I think that people aren't really looking at it, but the safety net for a lot of people is getting really, really skimpy. And as long as you're safe, as long as you can hold that middle class, where you've got a home, you've got food, you've got a phone, and you know, you can get around in a car or an Uber, like you have the basic necessities of life. If you have that, you can be okay. Once you lose that, your whole world is turned around and you're angry.
It takes a long time. Yeah, that's why I got so angry with the whole COVID policing, because I was basically out of work for a year and something, because as a technical person, I was working remotely, and the whole of the UK just went, you know, for contractors. And I'm never going to be an employee. I'm not employable. You know, I'm a contractor, a businessman.